Hey guys, Ramblin Bob here again. So, one of the subscribers had brought to my attention that Oukitel, or we call it Oukitel, has come out with a new version of the P2001, and they were asking if we could take a look at it to give our opinion. Now, we're not professionals or anything, but we love talking about power stations and learning about this. And since we've had two, not one, but two Oukitel P2001 original versions for more than a year, possibly almost 2 years now, it's got to be coming up on there, we know everything about the original version. So when I first look at the P2001 Plus, I'll know right away if there's any differences or what the differences are. So maybe that will help them on deciding if that's a system that they like or to stay away from. Just an opinion, but I thought if you guys want to hang out for a little while, we can kind of look at this new system and we can kind of go through it together and see what kind of new features that they updated on this model. I'm really curious. I haven't seen it yet, other than I loaded the page and I saw the picture. I haven't seen any of the specs or anything, but I saw the picture and I'm excited to go through this myself. So maybe this is something that I could look forward to in updating our versions. Like, I wish they had a trade-in program, because then we could possibly trade in the older ones to get the newer technology. But I think the only one that does that right now, I think, is Bluetti that I know of. All right, so this is the original Oukitel P2001 portable power station. It has 2,000 watts of power, watt hours inside. So depending on how you utilize that, we were getting approximately, if I can remember the 100% here, I believe we were getting about 1,550 watt hours per battery cycle. Now that's approximately just under 80% of the percentage of watt hours as far as what they advertised and what we were actually getting. It's got a big inverter on it, and it doesn't have, it's got a very strong inverter. You can overpower it by, like, I think it was like 400 or 500 watts we were able to run for minutes at a time with no problem. So that obviously eats into the battery capacity. So just to give you an idea, I'll give you the main numbers of what I have learned for more than a year, almost two, and then we can look at the new one to kind of see the difference. So 2,000 watt hours is the rated power. We were average 1,550 watt hours on a continual basis. It's very, very static at that number. It's about 15 to 16, so 1,550 is average of what we noticed. You have 6 AC outputs right here, up to 2,000 watts each, or combined amongst the 6. You have the emergency light right here, power button right here, 4 USB A's, 2 are 2.0s and 2 are 3.0s. And then you have 2 power draw 100 USB C's. And then you have 2 barrel, which are 12 volt at 5 amp. Then you have a 12 volt at 10 amp, which is XTC out, which is a very nice thing to have on a power station. That way you can run things like diesel heaters and such. And then here's your cigarette lighter, that's 12 volts at 10 amps. So now that we know that, just plus one of the best things on this power station, I have to say it, well, two things actually. There's no power brick. You plug it right into the wall, and the power speed charging of it is 1,099. It says it's 1,100, but I very, very rarely have seen 1,100. So 1,099, I think that's more than fair for saying it's 1,100 and they give you 1,099. And then the one of the best things is this feature right here. This is actually, if you put your finger here and open this, there's like a little glove compartment that you could open, in which you could store both of the cables. They fit fine, the charging cable and the we use the MC4 charging cable for the solar panels, and it is a fantastic feature for this power station. Handles are very robust. The machine, the original one, ironically, was only 110 volts though too, so let's hope that the new one is bumped up to 120. So now that you know the ins and outs of the original system, like I said, we've had it for almost up to 2 years, so we know everything about it. Speed charges 1.8 hours to 80%. It takes approximately 2 hours to charge the entire machine from literally 0 to 100. We've charged it a number of times. We've used it for events. So like I said, I know just about everything there is to know about this. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at, drum roll, we're going to look at the new one. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Okay, so this is the Oukitel P2001. It says it'll be on sale June 17th. So that's coming up soon, and really am excited to see this. Like I said, this is maybe a big upgrade, who knows, or a big flop, we don't know. So I'm going to look at the system right away, and I'm going to tell you what I noticed differently right away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down here, and I'm going to put this on this side, and I'm going to put this on this side so I can utilize the pictures. I'm going to drop this down to about 50%, and I'll put that at 50%, and that way you can see the difference neck and neck, if you will. Okay, so this is the older one on the left and the newer one on the right. So right away, the thing that I noticed, and one of the biggest things that I disliked about this power station, was all the AC receptacles, the ports, are on the side underneath a flip panel. I really dislike that, because if you put it against something like, you know, in a van or an RV or something, you have to kind of pull it out sometimes to be able to see back there and lift up that little lid. And the lid actually doesn't really, I don't think it goes as high as it shows here. It's a little bit less. It seems like it goes only about here. So it's very hard to see where you're plugging that in. I always found that as a frustrating thing with this power station. But looking at the new one, let me make this a little bit bigger over here. Okay, how about 70%? How about 80%? We're doing, oh, no, 70% was good. Okay, so notice that right away, all this stuff is dropped down a little bit more, and you have the AC receptacles. Now, you're going to lose two of them. I'm not a fan of that. However, they've been put on the front of the system, and I think that is a huge upgrade as far as accessibility to your power station. There's nothing worse than having to go around the back or the side of a power station, because then you have to either lift it up or turn it. Now, this is about a 50-pound, it's actually 48-pound power station. That's not easy for some folks to be able to spin that around. That's a lot of weight for a lot of folks. So having those all on the front, I think, is fantastic. Let me make this even bigger here so I can see it close up. Okay, so now we can see it better here. So notice that you still have, which looks like, I gotta make it even bigger here, guys. Oh, I'm on the wrong one here. Boy, that's real big. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm learning how to balance this here. Oh, I see. Okay, when I do one, they both go. That makes sense. Okay, so here's your 4 outputs for your USBs. I'm hoping, I can't read it yet, I have to go down to the specs, that there's still the power delivery ports that are 20 volts at 5 amps on these top 2, and all the rest of these are USB-A. Hopefully they upgraded those too, so I can't wait to see it. But right now I'm just kind of looking at the pictures just to kind of see you know, what the difference would be. Let me shrink it back down here. Okay, that's the where'd it go here? I lost it. Okay. Oh, here you go. So here you go, a versus. So you have, the output is a 2400 watt inverter. That's fantastic, guys. So the original P2001, as I said, is a 2000 watt inverter, and I could push 2400 watts out of there with no problems. It didn't overheat or anything. It had to go all the way up to like just under 2500 watts for it to overheat and shut down. So is this the same inverter? Is it a new one? I don't know. But if you could push this from 2400 to possibly 2800, that would be monstrous in a lot of situations where you have motors or garage door openers or sump pumps, stuff that's really power demanding. I think that would be a great upgrade. And then your power surge here says 4000 for the original one, which, yes, that was true. It's not very long, but it did work. And now the new one is 4800 watts. So an extra 800 watts of surge is a lot of power to get something that's very power hungry, you know, activated like a motor to get it going. Like when you start your car, it takes a lot of power to start your car and not very much power to keep your car running. But it takes a lot of power to start. Think about if you're going to race. You know, your body takes a lot of energy to get going, and then once you're going, the momentum kind of helps you carry through. That's kind of how power works too with a motor. Let's see, 1100 watts is the fast charging. I told you I only got 1199 watts. However, look at this. This is super awesome. Holy crapzilla. Guys, 1800 watts super speed charging. That's like 1 hour and 20 minutes possibly for the whole system. It says right here, where did I just read that here? I just saw it. Here, 1 hour, 80% within 1 hour. So I'm going to assume it's going to take about 1 hour and 20 minutes to top the system up, where our system, the original one, took about 2 hours. Still, that's great, but hey, faster is better if you have an emergency, right? Because the time is the most essential thing in an emergency. Now, one thing that they have on the new one that I noticed in this little thing, and I'll get to it in a minute, you'll like that, okay? There's no, actually we skipped one here. The UPS, 1100 watts, you can run directly from the wall because you can charge it at 1100. Obviously, that's why it cuts off at 11. So the new one, you could actually run 1400 watts UPS, which gives an additional 300 extra watts of power from the wall if you want to use it as a uninterruptible power supply, or UPS. So that also is a large upgrade, in my opinion, for this model. Now, this is where it gets real big, guys. So notice that if you had trouble with the original one, you had no app support. If you had a firmware update or something, you were at the company's mercy where you had to ship it back. They had to do the firmware update, and then they ship it back to you. That could cost money if they don't cover that. And they cost up to $100 to ship one of these little bad boys back. So that's a lot of money. That's something to consider when you buy a power station, is what if I need to upgrade. I'm not an app person. I don't use them personally. I have used them in the past. But I like to use them for either emergency situation or an upgrade of firmware. That's the only two reasons I usually use apps. Upgrade and emergency. Other than that, I usually don't use apps. And a lot of people who follow this channel, also remember me saying that many times. I'm not really a fan of apps. I don't like putting personal information in. This one does have Wi-Fi plus Bluetooth. Now, what that means is you can either connect it to Wi-Fi or straight to Bluetooth. If I do use an app, which I have in the past, I like Blue Eddies because, and what's the other one? Allpowers I like now. Blue Eddies so far, because you can just use the Bluetooth and keep it a local network, if you know what I mean. So basically, it's just you talking to your power station, and no other third party is in there, either watching what you're doing, copying what you're doing. I don't like that. That's, that's spy stuff. I don't like that, where they used it 45 times. They try. I don't like that. I bought my product. Let me use it in peace. I always like that. So whenever you use it during the Wi-Fi, the app always has a ET feature, which I call the phone home feature, which the app always talks to the companies, usually 99% of the time. That's their app, so they have access to it. Now, this is the most powerful thing that you can hope for, at least one of the most powerful things that you can hope for on a power station. This has what's known as charging adjust. So in layman's terms, you can control the speed of how you charge it. Blue Eddy has the same. They have the silent, the normal, and the turbo, where you can control how fast the power station charges. This is good for two reasons. Number one, if you want to go very slow, that protects the battery cells long term because you get more charge cycles out of something that you don't use and abuse. If you keep pumping 1800 watts in continuously every day, boy, that's like running a 50 yard or 100 yards every day. Your body's going to hate you for that. But if you're a marathon runner, do you see how much more protected your body is from problems because you're not overdoing it? You're kind of, maintaining a slow speed as opposed to let's go, go, go. Your car would thank you too. Your car loves going 60 miles an hour on the freeway. It does not like going 0 to 100 in a quarter mile. It doesn't like that. That's why they don't do that every day. It'll burn out all your pieces and your hardware faster. So and your batteries. So this has what's known as a charging knob here. If you see this little video right here, I think this is a very, very cool feature. So basically, if you want to have it where, here, I'll go down here. So if you want to have it charge very fast, you have that option. If you want to slow it down a little bit, this is also good because if you have an outlet in your house that only has a 15 amp breaker, 1800 watts is very close to tripping. Usually it's like 1650 watts rated, that's arguable, per household, unless you have a 20 amp circuit on there. That pushes it right up to the limit of what that outlet can do. So if you dial it down, that means you have an opportunity to utilize that outlet for more than just charging the power station. You could turn it down to as low as 400 and use a lamp, other things on that outlet that are not plugged directly into the power station if you were charging it, you know, for going camping or whatever. You don't have to utilize a whole outlet just to charge that machine. That is a very, very good feature for a lot of power stations for those two reasons. Protect the battery cells, plus you don't max out the outlet so you can use it for other things. I think that is a monster upgrade for this. I'd be curious to find out how much this system costs. There's your 2400 watts for the inverter. Now you get a close-up of the system so you can kind of see it, of what that looks like. I can't wait to find out what these all are and see if these have changed. But so far it has all the same. Now notice, the one thing I noticed, that I don't see the XT60 out anymore. This little guy right here, this little bad boy right there, I don't see that anymore. So for some people that might be a downgrade if they use that for charging your RC cars or your chargers for those, or you know, whatever you would use an XT60 for output. Okay, so like back on this side here we have, let's see, it's gonna spin around here. Now there's your seamless 1400 watt UPS with 10 millisecond transfer time. That's better because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this had 20. Let me double check and see if it says it here. I believe ours was 20 milliseconds, which is fast enough, but faster is always better, guys, because then you can use more sensitive stuff on these things and it's better protected. I'd like to know about the charge cycles as well here. Let's see if the battery capacity is gone. Yeah, I don't see it. Guys, I'm going to say it's 20 milliseconds on this model. That's the one thing I always tend to forget with these, but something that you don't really notice or you use very often. As far as like, there's not like a meter that tells you it switched over in 17 milliseconds. You know what I mean? So it's called a oscilloscope or something like that. It's a specialty thing. It doesn't say. Oh, and the solar input. Oh, I can't wait to see about that and see if that's better. So I'll just keep going. We'll come back to the Milla, the UPS switchover time as we get down there. So we'll come back to that. And just remember, 10 milliseconds on the new one, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's 20 milliseconds and under on the old one. Okay, so let's see. Quiet is 50 decibels. That's very quiet, guys. I can't really say anything bad about the decibels of the one that we have. It's always been very quiet. I don't know the exact decibels. That's, once again, you'd have to have a meter. But 50 decibels, like, I'll give you a prime example. This is a whisper. This is about 40 decibels. To give you an idea, 50 decibels is not much. As is shown in the picture here, it's not going to wake you up unless you're extremely light sleeper. Very, very low as far as noise. Okay, let's keep going here. The Smart App Control, I think that is a huge upgrade for this model. Which is kind of weird because that they upgraded a model rather than coming out with a whole new model. I was expecting a whole new model. Okay, so let's keep going here. A lot of updates so far. BMS, they both have BMS. Smart temperature control, all the bells and whistles, over temp, the under temp, stuff like that. It's all in there. If you have a problem, it shuts down. Ours has always been very reliable. I think the only thing that I dislike is, like I said, this flappy thing you have to open and go on the side to plug it in, and the battery capacity was only about 1550, where I would like to have seen that a little bit higher. Same lithium iron phosphate, and then here you go, 3500 charge cycles. Obviously, if you charge it slow, you can prolong that to possibly even more than that, but that's if it's well taken care of system. So don't abuse the system and it'll last much longer. Okay, and then we have, let's see here, let's see 10 years of last. Okay, that's the same as this one, 3500 life cycles. Okay, I can't wait to get to the solar input, boy. Oh, it doesn't even say it. Holy crap, guys, I think that's a majorly overlooked thing that it doesn't have. Boy, this thing is full of holy cow. Give my laptop a second to catch back up here, guys. Yeah, you'd think it would have that, guys. Okay, well, I don't have the info for that, guys. Let me let's see here. Let me close this one. My laptop is fighting because they have so much stuff going on in this website here. Let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't have 30-day refund. That's always good, guys. If you don't like it, send it back. They have super early bird price and free gift here. Look at this. Free repair service. Offer 3 years free. That's big. 3 years free repair. Holy cow. It doesn't say anything about shipping though, guys, okay? And then you get a free 100-watt solar panel and a foldable trolley with this too. But that says subscription benefits, so you'd have to look into figure out how much all that costs. That's these things. If you get it, the super early bird or the early bird. So if you order it by 6/17 to 6/30, and then if you order the beginning of July, then you get that as a free gift. I don't think you get both. So you either get that or you get that. I don't think you get both. But maybe you do. I don't know. Look into it. Look into it. 1,015 people have subscribed to this. This is not on like a Kickstarter thing. This is on Oukutel's website. Let's see here. I wish it had. Notice it doesn't say anything about the solar charging in. This looks like an XT60 port, but it's very hard to tell. It might be Anderson, which is the original one is Anderson, because they don't show it and they don't say it. You would think it would say, like in here, I think that's a very important thing, is solar charging, guys. I think that's because remember, this is a quote-unquote solar generator, or what we call a power station. So the number one place you're going to look for power from is obviously the sun. That's why you buy these. I just wish that it could tell you on here, 2400 watts, that's the inverter. 2048, that's exactly the power watt hours that the original one has. But notice, guys, it doesn't say anywhere on here about how much power you can get in from solar. The original one was 500 watts of solar, and that was a I was very disappointed with the solar input as far as the voltage. The VOC of that system, the original one, was 12 to 48 volts. That was one of the first systems that I've ever had. It wasn't a problem because that was a new system for me. So as I was learning, you know, you don't rush out and buy volts worth of panels or 400 or 5, some crazy amount. They'll end up, you know, you start out low with a 12-volt panel, maybe a 24-volt panel. So that now I like to see up to 100. But it can be very dangerous, if not possibly deadly. So be careful playing with voltage, guys. It's not a joke. Okay, so let's see here. I'm just going over it one more time just to see if I maybe possibly missed something that says what the yeah, see, it's not here, guys. So look into that. According to what I've read so far, I think this thing has a ton of upgrades compared to the original one. Why they didn't put the solar here as far as the verse, I think is one of the most important things for this system, to compare it to the new version of itself. I love these that are on the front, and notice they have the little covers individually as opposed to opening all 6 of these. However, you lose 2 of those. Yeah, see, it looks like an XT60. I can't see it good, but it looks like XT60, but it could be Anderson Power Pole. I think they should have done a little bit more with the pictures and the information on this. So hopefully my knowledge of the older system is enough to help out the subscribers that ask me to look at this, so they can make not a perfectly informed decision, but a better informed decision. That way it can help them make a more educated decision whether this system is right for them or not. This system may be 100% wrong for you, and every bit of information that you gather from this, no matter where it comes from, here or another channel or even a website or a page, is always good to keep track of that, so you could have a running total of what you need and what you want from a power station. And that way you can weigh your pros and cons of, well, is this right for me? Maybe I don't need 1800 watts of super fast charging. Maybe I could deal 1100 and I buy the older version. I personally would buy the newer version. But if you need 6 outlets, obviously that's a drawback. Notice it didn't say the power of the USB-Cs. I'm going to assume that they're 100 watts each, because that's what the original one was. And then the original one, these 2 right here are what are known as USB A 2.0s. Those are quick charge 2.0s, and these two are quick charge 3.0s. So these come out at about 12 watts, and these come out at 18 watts, and then these two you can use at the same time and get 200 watts, 100 out of each one at the same time. So let's hope that they kept with that. Let's hope that they put 4 USB-Cs up here and 2 A's down here. I would have liked that even better. But notice that they don't tell you anything about this as far as the ports or the input of the solar power. I think that's two very, 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 very overlooked mistakes for Oukitel not to put on their page. I think that's a big oopsie on their part. But it doesn't say anything here, guys. IP54 dustproof and splashproof. Guys, don't take that the wrong way. It's not waterproof, it is splashproof. That means that the dust won't affect it, or if you spill something by accident and something happens to splash on it, like say a soda or water, something like that, you can easily take that off without hurting the power station for the most part. That's what IP54 dustproof and splashproof means. It's not waterproof, and a lot of people think that's waterproof. It is not waterproof. But other than the this, I think, is a huge, huge monster upgrade to be able to control that power. I think is big. I like the 1400 watt UPS. You get 300 extra watts on that. I still like the 10-year lifespan on the cycles. That means nothing changed. They're probably using possibly the same battery cells as in the first one. The low decibel charging, like I said, ours was never that loud. It never concerned me. They do have this little reset button here. This is awesome. It's a little circuit breaker kind of thing, to where if you're charging too fast and you get a surge from the outlet or wherever you're pulling the power in from, it protects it, and you just push the button the same as you would when you go downstairs and you reset the circuit on your house. It kind of says, hey, you know, there's a problem, and it pops it, so you have to pop it back. I love the smart app control. I think that's a big thing. The extra 400 watts of output rated now, not what we got on ours. This is rated at 2400, which means you probably could push it, I'm going to guess, 2600, 2700 easy. That would be fantastic, because like it's awesome to have the extra power, because what if you need it one day? I'd rather have a Lamborghini engine in case I needed that speed one day, maybe to get someone to the hospital or something, or get out someone's way. You have a ton of power, but I don't like to have that much power on a daily base usage, because it just hurts the battery cells. So I think that's everything that I can add to this thing. This is a first look. Like I said, this was we were asked by a subscriber to take a look at this and just kind of give our opinions. Like I said, we're absolutely no way I look at myself as a professional anything. I'm an amateur, if I live by that statute. But I absolutely fell in love with this technology, and it excites me to learn this stuff every day. It's like a kid in a candy store, and I hope that this has helped the subscribers and the new people. Welcome. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe and join the subscriber family. Hopefully this information finds you beneficial and helps you make a decision. It looks also, I forgot about this, the handles look the same, so that very, very, very durable the old version was, with the handles, and very solid. But this thing is really cool. It's a little glove compartment. It looks like it's still there. So if I was to buy between the two now, I would definitely buy the new one if I had a choice. That's why I made the kind of joke in the beginning of this video. I wish that I could do trade-ins and trade in my Oukitel and get one, because we have two of them. I trade in one of them and get the new one, and that way I can do a review and see what the real difference is, actually hands-on, so people can really see the difference. But this is all the information I have so far, guys. Hopefully, like I said, it was beneficial. If you're not a subscriber, feel free to join the subscriber family, guys. We get coupons and promo codes from these companies, and we always put them on the channel. We have the Buy Me a Coffee page. That's it's like a page that we set up, that every single time that these companies have a flash sale, we put it up on the Buy Me a Coffee page. It's in the description. You can click that and go check it out. It's free, guys. It's 100% free. We also have a solar power database there. If you need more information, you can print them out for free. So that way, if the company send us promo codes or flash sales or something, a 24-hour flash sale, you know, a lot of times people miss that, right? And you know, our whole plan with this channel was to help people get more educated on this. It's a hobby for you. It's a habit for me now, because I really have been struck by lightning by this technology. It's changed my life. But what that'll do is help people save money and educate them, or we can educate each other as a team, and that way we have better idea of what we need and what we want out of this technology. Okay, guys, I'll have to leave it at that, because like I said, that's all the information I have. Hopefully it was beneficial, and we'll definitely see you guys here again on Ramblin Bob Reviews. Stay safe, and I'll see you again. Bye, guys.